Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. This is the Video Best Bets Part 1. You're going to get a Video Best Bet from Tony Finn and Ralph Michaels. In a later video, you'll get a Best Bet from Preston, the Sports Cheetah, and myself. Guys, we're going to start off with you, Ralph. You've got a prop bet for the upcoming NFL draft, and this is something new for Vegas. First year, you can actually bet on the draft, and you found one you like. Share it with us.
You know, I've been doing a lot of work. I'm going to have an NFL draft guide up Monday by noon Eastern. It'll have my first round picks, and therefore it'll give you an opinion on every draft prop there is on the board. So I will cover every prop and my opinions on those. Monday noon, Wager Talk. Looking at this, I'm going to go to LSU, over 2.5 players drafted in the first round. Right now it's -20. Safety Jamal Adams is a lock. He's a top 4 pick. Leonard Fournette, the running back, is a lock. He's a top 10, probably a top 6 pick now. He can thank Ezekiel Elliott and the Dallas Cowboys, and his contract's worth an extra $5 million because of that. The running back is now relevant again in the top 10. So the bet hinges on Tre'Davious White. Some have him as high as number 14. He's a great cornerback. He's a junior, an underclassman, started every possible game he could. And, you know, I look at it as this. Teams don't take flyers in the first round unless there's something established. LSU has established themselves as a DB factory. Ever since Patrick Peterson was a first-round pick in 2011, LSU and Ohio State are the dominant DB teams. You know, last year they had Rashad Robinson drafted in the 4th round. He started 6 games for San Fran. They had Jalen Miles in the 7th round. He made starts for Philadelphia. So let alone Eric Reed, a first-round pick. You have the Honey Badger. You have Morris Claiborne, a first-round pick. DBs from LSU can play in the NFL. Cornerbacks are going to be a hot commodity. I love this prop. LSU over 2.5 players first round, -$120.
It's funny how certain schools get niched for play. Penn State used to be linebacker U, and Southern Cal would have the running backs, and it's.
Well, you have to be careful when you're picking cornerbacks because cornerbacks can look good against weak opponents, but when you're playing in the SEC, I mean that is NFL junior, the junior league, you know, and so you have an established program, you have a coaching hierarchy that knows how to coach the players, and again, when you have that type of talent and the pedigree, teams aren't afraid to climb up in the first round and grab a player of need.
Good stuff, Ralph, and I'm looking forward to that guide that comes out because, you know, your credentials for understanding college football players, all those years with Phil Steele and doing, you know, the publication, you know the players.
You know, I was the person who did those draft projections for Phil Steele's College Football Preview and the NFL Pro magazine. So there's a lot. There's probably 26 players that you know are going to go in the first round. So everything's based on those last 6. History shows I can pick those last 6.
All right, looking forward to that. And we'll see if Vegas is looking forward to it with you taking bets for the first time. Tony, you're going to go to Friday, and you've got a baseball play. You're going to be taking a look at St. Louis at Milwaukee. St. Louis, a little bit of a surprise this year. We're used to the Cardinals being, you know, one of the contenders each and every year, but they're not playing good baseball right now. What are you looking at on Friday?
When it starts, I think it starts with their main trio, their trips up top on the pitching rotation. Adam Wainwright isn't the same pitcher he hasn't been really for a couple of years. And this is a matchup that I really like. You got a Peralta who kind of suffered some injuries, at least some nagging injuries last year and struggled a little bit. He has seen an uptick in his velocity, about 1.5 miles per hour. These are 2 pitchers that are 0-2. One has an ERA I think in the high 8s. One has one in the high 2s. And I have already twice this year faded Wainwright, and what I'm doing here is giving out a free pick. I think this is the 3rd straight game that we fade Wainwright. Granted, he had a decent debut against the Cubs, a good Cubs lineup. He got hit pretty hard by a Yankees team that had won their 7th straight, I think, and were playing really good ball, at least up to yesterday. And Peralta has, some people would argue that maybe he's had a little soft. He's faced a Toronto and a Colorado lineup and really dominated both times. However, people will say, hold, stop. Those 2 lineups are struggling. I disagree. I think this is a great spot for a Milwaukee team that doesn't hit left-handers very well. They hit right-handers pretty well. And Peralta, over Wainwright, and you're probably going to be getting plus money.
Doesn't hurt. St. Louis is batting what, 220?
Doesn't hurt at all.
All right, so there you go. You've got Ralph saying take LSU over 2.5 players in the first round for the NFL draft next week. And you've got Tony saying to take Milwaukee at home against the St. Louis Cardinals, going against Adam Wainwright. And guys, if you want to save $10 this week, well, it's playoff time, so use coupon code PLAYOFFS and the number 10, and you can save $10 off any package at Wager Talk this week. That's PLAYOFFS and the number 10. We'll be back with more here at WagerTalk.com.